Okay, and we're rolling. Hello, everybody, and welcome everybody to the Cosplay Podcast. I am your host, the Danny of Huang, and below me, repping that costume and play, we have Melanie. How you doing?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, that's fine. And today, we got ourselves a photographer-themed show today, and we have Kimberly Newman. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm really good, thank you.
Oh, and would you just like to briefly introduce yourself, what you do, and stuff like that? Here we go. Here's your slide.
My name is Kimberly Newman, aka A Shot in the Dark Photography. I've been doing cosplay photography for about 2 years seriously, but I did it quite a lot before that, and I've just kind of built on those skills. I mostly just go to cons to photograph people now. In fact, most of my spare time is photography. I think when you do it, you just get like really obsessed about it in a good way. So yeah, that's me.
I like that dedication, and again, for those who probably will get confused, no, that's not her because she couldn't change face. She's not that person from Game of Thrones. This is her work, and it'd be some excellent work. It'd be more excellent if they could see what I was showing, but that's fair enough. And below Kimberly, we have Mr. Kev Pack, otherwise nicknamed the Old Man of Iacon. How are you doing, brother?
Well, there were older people at Iacon as well. But yeah, good to be here. Thanks for inviting me along.
Oh, no, not at all.
I'll give you a quick introduction. I've been involved with running conventions, like saying, with Aya in the past. I was in an anime club, so I come from the anime side of the cosplay rather than superheroes and comics and things. But I've been into photography since mid-70s when I was at school, when we got to experiment and play in the darkroom, and developing pictures is how I got hooked. But my dad was a bit of a sci-fi fan, and I got took to sci-fi conventions when I was a kid. Probably took my first pictures of people in costumes back in the mid to late 70s, before it was called cosplay. So, and I've been taking pictures of them ever since. So, yeah, I've just been doing it longer than anyone, I think.
Oh my God! You were around the time there was this thing called a dark room.
Oh yeah, hey, I've got film cameras to get them to later.
What? People still use film stock?
Absolutely. But I must admit, I don't develop it myself anymore. I do send it to a lab. I haven't got a dark room.
Okay, yeah, that'd be definitely a topic we can touch on later. But before we start, we normally talk about our staples, which is events. So, Melanie,
Yes.
what the hell did I? Yeah, Melanie. I believe you went to Blackpool, and do you know what the weird thing is? I was born in this country. I've lived there most of my life. I actually still got no idea where the hell that is.
It's up near me. It's up in Lancashire. Come on.
Northwest.
Yes, northwest.
Obviously it's on the sea.
Yes, it is. It's a seaside town.
Okay.
It's to be fair, I went to Play Expo Blackpool. Literally because it's very close to me. It's about half an hour ride on the train. It was really, really good actually. I actually went as attendee, which is unusual these days. And basically got talked into entering the Cosplay Masquerade, which never normally happens. I'm normally the one behind the scenes for a reason. I got talked into actually entering the Masquerade, and Dark Cleo Productions were actually doing the Masquerade. They did a really good job. But I entered both days. I did Nick from Left 4 Dead on Saturday, and ended up winning third place, which was a little bit surprising, to say the least, considering I've literally been in 2 masquerades before.
Hold up, and you work for the people that were running the masquerade type thingamajig?
Not this one, no.
Oh, okay, I was about to say, that does not
No. That would be very wrong. I'm normally behind the scenes helping. I'm with Costume and Play normally helping, but we weren't running it at Play Expo Blackpool. It was Dark Cleo Productions. But they did a really good job.
Okay.
But yeah, I ended up coming third place, which is a bit weird.
Okay.
And then I basically was very brave and did an actual in-character performance as Bellatrix on Sunday. And again, it was different for me. I'm used to being behind the scenes and backstage and not being on the stage. But yeah, it was good. It was a good con. Lots of games, lots of retro games.
Okay, I'm just curious. Compared to, let's say, the Event City one, is it bigger, smaller?
It's tiny.
Oh, tiny.
It's tiny. It's at Norbreck Castle, I think it was. So it's like
Castle?
a little hotel. No, it's a little hotel.
Oh.
It calls itself a castle.
Oh.
Yeah, it pretends to be a castle.
Oh, God damn
But it's
it.
tiny. But no, it was good fun actually. Lots of retro games and lots of games for me to go play. So that's kind of what I did most of the weekend, and ended up chatting to all the cosplayers for ages, which is usually what I tend to do. So I always find the cosplayers and go find them and go chat. But I made loads of good friends actually, so it's good.
All right then. Okay, that sounds cool then. So, Kimberly, you been to any events this year then?
I've been to quite a few. Oh god, this is like a memory test. I went to Digicon at the start of the year.
Digicon? Where's that then?
Wait, let me try and think. Whoa. I'm gonna get this totally. I don't know. I didn't drive.
It's in Derby, isn't it?
No.
You went to a con and you have no idea where it was. Were you blindfolded or something?
I wasn't driving. Well, I went to that, and that's more like a kind of a sci-fi kind of thing, and that was really nice. It was quite small, but there were lots of like cool cars and stuff, and I managed to get some photo shoots outside, which always makes me happy. And I went to Yorkshire Cosplay Con recently. Really enjoyed that.
You enjoyed it? Oh, okay, that's kind of interesting.
I spent most of my time outside.
Okay, that might explain why, because I've not been hearing too many great things about that, actually.
I really enjoyed it, and I always meet amazing people at that convention. The level of cosplay is always really high, so for me to go and take photographs was really good. And the location that it was at, it's at Magna now, and it's got really cool like steel beams and structures, really cool places to take photographs. I also judged the photo and art competition, which not many people entered, so I guess it wasn't much of a judging. But I really enjoyed it.
Okay, and
I have to say.
Oh, gotcha. And a voice from the ether has just said that Digicon was in Doncaster. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. It looks a bit familiar.
No, seriously, I'm baffled as to how you could just hop into a car and right, we're going to a convention. It doesn't matter where it is. Oh, we're at a convention.
Somebody else is driving. I was just messing about on my phone.
All right, but rewinding it back slightly, and there's still mildly baffled how you could get into. Yeah, no, okay, whatever. But
my geography is awful.
Okay, so Yorkshire Comic Con wasn't bad for you, but you were outside, which again might explain a couple of things, because I think all the complaints I heard was it was a tidy venue, but yet it was really packed in.
Yeah, we did queue for quite a while to get in, like an hour and a half, I think. But in Yorkshire Cosplay Con's defence, it wasn't them running the queues, and they've actually been really good, and they took on board all the advice that people gave them and the recommendations for next time in August. So I'm going back in August, and I think it's going to be, like, they're going to have addressed all that. It's going to be a lot better.
Okay.
So they're really, like, the people that run it are really nice and take on board a lot of stuff.
Okay, that's it. No, that's interesting. Again, I just hear stuff from the grapevine, and I did fancy.
I've heard it all as well.
Yeah, because I fancy taking up a trip up north. Because again, it's just I pretty much stick to the south. London, the Midlands. I think the most north I've been was not for a convention anyway. For other stuff when I used to do my older gaming stuff and all that was Middlesbrough. Well, actually, no, I tell a lie. I went to Scotland, but that's another story. Anyway, I'm waffling myself.
Anyway,
Kev.
Yeah.
Been to any good events recently?
Well, I was at Ami Chibi.
I want to hear about this. So,
I was there.
Yep,
I was there
with Vito as well. Good event. Nice, small. All in one place.
Just as the name implies, because I was thinking, wait a minute, I used to go to AmeCom. In matter of fact, it was what you would arguably call the sister convention to you, in that one year there'd be an Ame, then another year it'd be an Aya.
That's the idea. But it now looks like they'll be doing something similar with Kita. So one year there'll be a big Kita and a small Ami, and then the next year there'll be perhaps a small Kita and a big Ami. So next year AmiCon's going to be at Warwick. At the Warwick Arts Centre.
Oh my God! I'll be honest. I've really gone off. I've really kind of gone off anime cons ever since Aya sort of packed it in, because that was pretty much in my opinion.
It was a good con.
It was a very good con.
That was my favourite con. Was Aya Con. Really, really good.
It's just it was just the venue alone. You had those steps and you had that little spa. I mean, every convention needs that little spa shop that sold those miniature pizzas.
and it realised what convention attendees wanted, so it did stock up and it did keep open late.
It did, yeah. Had all those little Chinese pots of noodles that were amazing.
Yeah, but next year Amicon will be there, so looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it.
May have to... Oh, gosh, that's all right.
Yeah, I had a good time at the Chibi one, which was nice because it wasn't big. Everybody was in one place. Because the problem I've had with Amicon sometimes in the past is it's been a bit spread out, and you don't really see a lot of people.
I remember. Do you know what the weird thing was? It was a case of everyone rated Aya as the best, as the best, and then Ame was kind of like the off-brand one because I can't remember. There was a particular camp. Yeah, was it a campus? I don't know if it was in Stoke-on-Trent or it was in
There was one in Stoke. They did it a couple of times in Stoke, and then the first one, of course, was at Oadby in Leicestershire.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember now because I think the one in Stoke, they had a really, really funny setup where they couldn't get everybody into one room, so they ended up streaming. Streaming the masquerade into another room and then into the bar. So unfortunately, what happened was the people in the bar.
I remember that.
The people in the bar were slowly getting more and more drunk.
I was in the bar.
Even more hilarious. It was some of the little display screens they failed. I think I even famously took a picture of one, it was really, really spread out. I think the walk from the campus to the actual halls and that. But the thing is, I still had amazing fun because, it was the people. It was definitely the people that made the con. Even though I got attacked by bees.
Well, yeah, you get that at Ira and everywhere else.
What?
Yeah, well, it wasn't bees. It was wasp. It was for whatever bizarre reason that particular year there was an invitation of wasp, and every cosplayer were just getting attacked.
Oh, that's like one of my phobias. It just set me off.
Wow.
Well, actually, since we mentioned it, that was one of our silly questions. Yeah. Jake Broster asked, in a straight-up bar fight, who would win, bees or wasps?
Oh, wasps? They're like evil.
They are evil.
They are very, very evil. It's
They're full of evil.
They're like very evil. Actually, do you know what? I'd actually say it was a stalemate because the thing about the wasp is, they're armor-plated. They can sting multiple times because it's a chemical-based sting. Whereas a bee, no, they got a very, very solid stinger. But the thing is, they would give their life. I don't know about you, but a bee is a very, very noble animal in that.
No, that's really heroic. I'm actually tearing up a little bit about that now.
Yeah, think about it. That big, heavy, solid stinger is definitely going to go through armor and kill them. But the problem is, that means you haven't won the fight. It's a stalemate. So yeah. So there's your answer, Mr. Jake Broster. It's a stalemate.
You've won like a moral victory, though. That's the important thing.
But like I said, wasps pretty evil, bees nobles. But we occasionally talk about cosplay and and I guess
we talked about cons. Come on, that's how we got onto the topic.
That's legit.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, like I said, when we went in that Stoke campus, campus. I'll tell you one thing though, those were some excellent shooting locations, regardless of how everything was spread out. But that's probably why it was good shooting locations.
Yeah, absolutely. I got some of my best photos I've ever taken at cons at the last IACon, because they had like the room that had some of the photography backdrops set up and like the lights that you could use. And there was like the outside of the con that looked really nice, and then there was a little wooded bit really close, and it's I
remember that.
Like a million locations in one. It was really good.
Dare I say it? It was kind of like a poor man's version of the Warwick Arts Centre.
I can't remember where it was.
No, I just vaguely remember.
Yeah.
I just vaguely remember being attacked by wasp. The walk from where I was staying to the actual main hall was a really long walk, and the anime screenings, which I kind of think they were going out of fashion by that point because nobody was actually. Yeah, that was actually one of the most bizarre things I noticed about anime cons, which is kind of why I got off them. Nobody was actually going to anime cons to actually watch anime.
I don't actually watch a lot of anime, if I'm honest.
No,
I'm a terrible geek.
Nah.
Every other aspect of geekery I'm in love with, but just anime, I don't know. Battle Vixens is really good.
Yeah, a little bit naughty, but yeah, definitely. I'd go with that. But
that's what I want for my anime.
Okay, fair dues. But like I said, it's like me and Kev, we hail back a long time. Obviously, he hails back a little bit longer, but But like I said, the first anime con I went to, we went to actually watch anime. It was actually really hard to get. I mean, it's crazy. Again, we'll probably need to save this material for the end of the show, but I think it's just crazy now that I can get this phone out and I can watch anime. Before, no, you actually had to go to a convention to watch it because it was that rare.
Yeah, very true.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I'm still such a newbie to this whole scene of like I've literally been to cons and conventions and stuff for like the last coming up to 2 years now, so I'm still new to all this. So it's still a new thing for me, but yes.
Yes. But like I said, next point is, so what cons are we going to go to next? I think that'll be the guest privilege. So Kimberly, what next con you're heading out to?
Lots of memory tests here. I am going to SunnyCon, which I'm really excited for. I love SunnyCon. It's in Sunderland. I know where it is.
They have conventions in Sunderland?
Yeah, it's amazing because the con is like a 2-minute walk from the beach.
Oh, okay,
which is really good for photo shoots.
Wow, that's
so if you're going to SunnyCon, bring
whoa! When's that?
It's at the end of June. That's the best I can do for you.
My God, I'm just thinking I could bring my Captain Connor. I can have an actual naval photo shoot by the sea.
You should do it. It's really good. I'm going to SunnyCon. I always really, really love that con, and because it's run by really, really nice people as well, and it's always got loads going on, and they do a lot for charity, which is really good. I'm going to Yorkshire Cosplay Con in August, which I'm really looking forward to. Okay. I'm going to Doki Doki, Manchester Con.
Manchester.
I've only just signed up for it. I'm doing like tables at some of them because sometimes I sell stuff as well, and then take a helper and then leave them at the table and go and take photographs because I'm a nice friend. And Fort Bubble, of course, because I live in Leeds. Oh wow!
Yeah, I've heard a lot of because I did put a post up on Cosplay UK, and Fort Bubble popped up quite a lot of time. That's in Leeds, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at the Royal Armouries, and because we live in Leeds, we go every year. But it's if you like art, sequential art or any kind of art, it's amazing, but my God, take a lot of money because you will want to buy everything. Is that just me? But yes, all of those, like, I'm really looking forward to. I really like the smaller cons because you get to meet people that are not that used to, say, doing photographs. So you get that, like, really wonderful, warm feeling when you take a really nice photograph and they're like, oh my God, I love it. And it's just really nice. And they tend to have, like, nicer locations for you to do photos and really good places to just meet people because I do a lot of shoots outside cons now as well. So it's going to take, like, some... Yeah, take some nice photos at the con and then say, oh, if you're interested in a shoot, here's my card, blah, blah, blah. I don't actually say blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I probably say that.
Okay, sweet. Kev, what you got up on the horizon then?
First thing will be London Expo, Comic-Con, this month.
Okay.
And I'll be there for all 3 days, seeing as it's now a 3-day event. So that's the first time I'll have done a full London MCM Expo for quite a few years, actually, so I'm waiting to see how it goes. This is also the first time I've really gone into booking shoots in advance, but I think we'll probably talk a bit more about that a bit later. Most of my shoots are still out of the cons, but I think next on the horizon after London, we've got the Manchester Film and Comic Con.
Yeah.
The one run by Showmaster, not the MCM one.
Yes.
No, yeah, and then after that, we've got the MCM one as well. So Yay! I'll be at both of the Manchester ones. Yeah, I'll be there too. That's what's in the next couple of months, and I tend to just look at it a couple of months at a time because there's just so many events now. There's events almost every weekend somewhere.
I was looking at actually no, tell a lie. I was given a rather cool site by Mr. Rob Parker, and which lists every con, and surprise, yeah, there is almost literally a convention every single week, or even, running on the same days even. Hold up, where was it?
What's his site? I'm interested.
Is it Team Nico's site? Because they have a list of all the cons.
I don't think it was. Hold up, let me just...
There's a couple of different places that list them.
Oh, here we go. It's just... Yeah, I kind of hate it. It's just UK comic conventions. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. That makes sense.
But there's
when
a lot.
I first started
so
conning, when I first started, 7 or 8 years ago, giving away my age a bit there. There was like 2 or 3 a year. Like there was, like, excluding MCMs and expos and stuff, like, you know, stuff like KitCon and Alcon and AmeCon and stuff. There's like maybe 3 a year to go to, and now they're just everywhere. It's good. It's good. I'm happy.
Oh, here we go. Oh, yep. Like I said, yeah, we've got. Wow. Yeah, there is almost literally a convention every single week, or you know, even one, or even running concurrent days. What we got? We got Lawgiver Mark II. I'm gonna go out on a wild limb and say, does that have something to do with Judge Dredd?
Sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, it is! Welcome, citizens. The year is 2079, and Dredd, the streets of Megacity 1, were the craziest citizens and therefore the weirdest crimes. Yeah, wow, that's a pretty good buy. But it's like,
Yeah, I kind of want to go now.
what? I don't know. I think that's kind of awesome. You got conventions dedicated to Pacific genres and stuff.
There was a Red Dwarf one on last weekend. I didn't even know about it, and now I'm like, I want to go next
I
year.
didn't know about that. I'm really upset. I've met every single cast member of Red Dwarf now, and everybody is
that's
just
so
so nice.
I really want to do a cat cosplay.
Oh, he's so nice in person.
Whoa, what's
Oh,
this?
Danny
Do it.
Jones is lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the cat. Oh, what's this? We have Cardiff International Comic Expo. I just like the location. It's in the Cardiff Masonic Hall. That kind of sound. I don't know. That just sounds a little bit dodgy. I don't know why.
It sounds like a supervillain lair, to be honest.
The Masonic.
It's probably some sciencey thing, and like we've all just sounded really stupid laughing about
No,
it.
Masonic lodges are with the Masons, aren't they?
Yeah,
They are.
the Freemasons.
Okay, I feel really stupid because I didn't know that.
It's like because I used to work in one. That's how I know.
Oh, so you saw secret handshakes and bizarre initiation
That all
ceremonies.
went on upstairs. I was working in the bar. I just got lots of tips because I was the only female bartender. It's great.
Interesting.
That's what I need to do for a living.
But wow, yeah, this list keeps going on and on and on and on. Actually, and I just realised something. I've got technology. I could actually even show it to the damn viewers. Which, actually, whatever. Let's just go on to
Give
the.
them the link now. It's fine.
Yeah. I'll probably throw in the annotation that will appear somewhere on the YouTube video around there, and yeah. But anyway, I think it's time for the main meat of the subject, which is photography. And oddly enough, we had a question from my mate Dean, who asked remarkably the same question that I was going to ask, and if I can just load it up. Hold up.
That's so exciting that people have asked questions.
Well, not many, because again, this show was a little bit short notice because, I'm just that chaotic. Here we go. Yes, my mate, Mr. Dean of Hassel asked, what sort of equipment do photographers generally take around cons? Surely it's a bit risky taking a whole load of expensive stuff in such a crowded place. And what is the base equipment you take? Kimberly, would you like to start?
Yes, I can actually show you what I take, because it's really simple. That's it. That's all I take with me to shoot at cons. It's not plug-in, but it's a Nikon. And it's not the kit lens, it's a macro lens, because I really like the depth of field that you get on macro lenses. And that's it, that's all I use. Which is pretty much why I hate shooting indoors, because I don't carry around lights with me or anything.
Okay,
But
correct.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Do Nikon do the opposite of what Canon do? The more numbers you have, the better your camera is. Whereas Canon, they do it the other way around. Whereas the less numbers you have, the better the camera is. It's like I was getting all excited about. Hold up.
Bye.
I was getting all excited, reading and stuff. Yeah, I picked up this camera. This is really good, a 600D. And then I looked up. Oh, I brought up the little consumer version.
To be honest, I'm just going to put it out there now, because I will say it at some point. You do not need expensive kit to take good photographs. You really, really don't. I've actually seen some people take amazing photographs on their iPhones, which I'm pretty jealous about. But yeah, you don't need to spend loads of money to get really good photographs at all. The camera body is like 7 years old now.
Oh.
And I bought the lens a couple of years ago, I think. When I first started to take it seriously, I bought an extra lens just for £200. And that's it. So yeah, I'm a big believer in like, it's not your kit that does it for you. It's your skill as a photographer and you understanding your kit and having that artistic interpretation. It's just me.
Okay, fair enough.
Makes sense.
So, Kev, what would you take to a convention typically then?
It depends to me. So let's say last London Expo, where I said I went down for one day.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't going to be fantastic weather, and I didn't want to take a lot of camera gear and be standing out in the rain with a lot of gear. So with that, I took a compact camera, which I could put in my raincoat pocket, and a little speed light. Because the only main thing was that with most of my photography is getting some way of getting some off-camera lighting into it.
Oh, cool.
Because I do like to have, if you shoot pictures and you've got your flash straight on the camera, it just looks like you've been startled and you're caught in the headlights. Whereas if you can get some off-camera flash in it, just to lighten up the eyes, and then just all you need is a compact camera. Now, a compact camera you can put manual settings in. Because if you don't have it and you leave it all automatic, that will just do what the camera thinks you should do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the main thing is telling it what you want it to do. So just a compact camera which will let me choose my aperture, choose my shutter speed, and a little flash to hold off camera somewhere. And that's what I took, because I knew it was going to be rainy. I knew I was just going down for the day, so I didn't want much. So that's that. And that's all you need, really.
Okay.
Now, of course, you can go for more. So, Amicon, we were there for the weekend. Once again, not a DSLR, just a little compact camera, compact system camera. So, once again, it's got the same sensor size as what you've got with your DSLRs, but it's smaller, lighter. I can see the playback through the eyepiece. So, if it's a bright sunny day, it doesn't matter if I can't see what's on the screen, because I can see what's going on through the eyepiece, because it's digital eyepiece. Larger flash gun. Once again, I will either hold it off camera, or I'll get one of the cosplayer's friends to hold it off camera. But the main thing is to remember to try and diffuse it some way. So I tend to use Rogue flash benders. That's a diffuser panel for it. Just so you can strap that to the flash, then put a diffuser panel on it, hold it quite close to them, because the closer you get it to them, the softer the light's going to be over them. But once again, it all strips down, fit in your pockets. The flash bender just folds up, goes in your back pocket of your jeans. That's quite large, but can fit in one of my raincoat pockets. Once again, small and light. Now, if you are going to an event, I will be probably doing London Comic Con with it, you might want to set up light stands and have lights set up so if it's in one position, you can bring cosplayers in and then shoot them with that position. And then it's the same thing. You just want to get some way of attaching your speed light to a bracket. And these things don't cost much. You know, this is just a manual speed light. It's not fancy. It doesn't talk to my camera with the settings and anything. This particular one is a bit more expensive. Of course, it doesn't take batteries. It has a lithium cell. But even with this and the trigger, it was 70 quid on Amazon. And you can get even cheaper Yongnuo ones, less than that, which just take regular batteries. And then people use them in umbrellas. I tend to shoot in softboxes. But when that's not quite enough power and you really want to go the whole hog, that's a speed light.
Whoa, what is that? I've never seen that before.
It's a bare bulb speed light. So if you compare the power from this is the equivalent to having 6 of these and a light modifier. So it's chucking out, it's like a studio strobe in a little package. So, but what I tend to do is use this, but in a softbox.
Well, I'd imagine so, because wouldn't you blind the subject in question?
But most of my shots, if you look at a lot of them, I'm shooting directly into the sun. Oh. And I'm overpowering sunlight at the peak of the day. And you can't do that very easily with these unless you're shooting high-speed sync. So the sort of photography I do, I need the power. And this gives me the power in a very small and compact package. But it's like I said, it's, at the end of the day, though, it's the same as me going somewhere with my little compact camera and my little speed light. You know, I'm going to get the similar sorts of results. You know, all you need to do really is just learn and keep taking pictures. And the more you do it, and the more familiar you do with, well, I know that I need this much power and this much settings to get what I want. That's what it's all about. Just keep doing it again and again and again.
Okay.
A lot of it won't work, but some of it will.
All right. Just hold up again, so we don't have to ever repeat all that, just in case. And people probably wondering what we're talking about. No, don't worry about that. Okay, that's a bit of a revelation, because all the togs, well, down my end at least, they're using their flashy Canon 5D Mark IIIs with the big body grips and stuff like that, and lenses that cost twice as much as my damn whole camera.
Don't get me wrong, you can get different looks with different gear. So I've got a 5D too, which I don't tend to take with me anymore because it's just too heavy. It's too heavy. It's got a big grip and a big lens, and it weighs a ton. I won't swear.
Kind of does.
But you have it round your neck all
you can if you want to, but
I'm
not going to stop you. Yeah.
I did fashion shoots with a runway, and you're standing there for about 6 or 7 hours, and you can't use a monopod or a tripod or anything. You've got to hand hold it and take the shots. And at the end of the 6 or 7 hours, your hands are shaking because of all the weight you're carrying. So I'd much rather just carry lightweight. Now, there's some photographers out there which are going to shoot really low, shallow depth of field and let everything blow out. And with that, you're going to need fast glass. An aperture which will go down to 1.4, 1.2, and that is expensive.
Ooh, okay.
Having said that, my compact camera goes down to f2. So, and that is a very old model now, which is about 300 quid, something like that.
Yeah, mine goes down to, with my lens, it's f2.8, and I have been eyeing up getting more, but do you know what? I'm getting the shots I want with my lens.
Exactly.
And I think, at the end of the day, like, me and Kevin both cosplay photographers, our styles are very different, and you use the kit that suits your style of photography. So, in a studio, I've got some studio kit, and I just use continuous lighting. I've got this is just like the head of it. You get
what is this? What is this stuff?
I've
never seen this stuff
before.
Get Please explain.
5 of these bulbs put in, and these simulate daylight, and because it's continuous, you don't really have to worry about your flash being going off at the wrong time and stuff. And you can turn them all on individually to get the light that you want. That's what I use in a studio. And sometimes you can use one light to get that kind of dramatic shadows, or you can use 2 lights and everything smooth everything out. And it just depends on what kind of shoot you want to do, what's your style of photography. It's different for everybody. It's something that one person really enjoys doing. It's different. I really like using natural light in shoots. I think, especially in England, because it's really overcast, it diffuses the light
of the time.
really nicely.
Yes.
Yeah. Like Kevin was talking about diffusing the light, when it's overcast, all the clouds diffuse the light, and it goes on the skin really nice and evenly. So everybody's different, and it's about just keep practicing and finding out what you like and what's your style and what's going to work with that.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, I do like shooting outside as well.
Yeah.
And I'm not always, and sometimes, especially you say if I'm using the little light, that's just to give a catch light, which you can do with just a reflector, but it's a lot harder with a reflector. So all that is to do is just to lighten up the eyes, give a little catch light, so that otherwise, especially with darker eyes, it can look a bit dead. So you want to try and get a little bit more life into the eyes if I can. But in the studio, because I do share a studio in Manchester with a couple of other guys, and with that stuff, I tend to shoot it, as far as the cosplay goes, as straight fashion shots. So I'm lighting it with a beauty dish and a couple of rim lights, and I usually try and keep it quite simple like that. It's the same sort of thing I'd do if I was shooting fashion.
Okay. But anyway, just rewinding back, because oddly enough, I missed the chance. I was going to actually originally ask, it is actually possible to take decent stuff with compact cameras, and although they're a lot different than the compact cameras I envisioned, because that looks like it's got a fixed lens on it, or something like that. Or
oh yeah, it has.
Change the lens.
No, I said this thing here is a fixed lens, 35mm equivalent, but it does allow me to change the aperture on a little ring at the front, and then change the shutter speed and a little dial at the top. So, but apart from that, it's just it's a nice compact camera, but it is just a fixed lens, compact, but it's a good one. It's not the bottom of the range ones, let's put it that way. It's a nice compact camera.
Yeah, I assume it wouldn't be the ones that you can pick up in the supermarket for about £100 or whatever, yeah.
Well, like I said, I think because there's been 2 superseding models of it, I think it's about £300 second hand, something like that.
That's not bad, considering...
Yeah.
Yeah, considering you can't even probably get the latest sort of consumer version of the Canon. I forgot what it was now. Was it the D1100?
No idea.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. But if you're going to do flash,
it's not a cheap
just buy cheap. Well, yeah, but if you're going to buy flashes, buy cheap flashes. Don't buy the Nikon or Canon flashes. That's one of my big tips. They charge for the name a lot. Said the Yongnuo ones these days just as good, fraction of the price. So you're much, much better off buying something like that than you are buying a name brand.
I think there's a brand called Tamron that do lenses, and I've heard, I don't know, I've not tried, but I've heard they're just as good as the branded ones, and they fit on both Nikon and Canon bodies if you get like the one that matches up to those, and half the price. But I'm yet to try one out, so don't buy one and blame me.
Well, I did buy a third-party flash, but the problem I had with it was either under or overexposed. I assumed when you brought the proper branded Canon one that it would sync up or something like that, or is it just me not being able to use flash properly?
Well, possibly.
Probably that.
Yeah,
then.
flash,
what I'm buying is
flash
purely
really
manual.
difficult.
What I'm buying is purely manual, so the only things that it does and the power I get is what I dial into it at the back.
Yeah.
So it's not doing anything on automatic. I take a shot. If it's too much, I dial it down. If it's too little, I dial it up. And it's as simple as that. If once you put it on your camera and you're letting the camera decide what to do with it, it can be right, it can be wrong. And if it's wrong, you can dial in a little bit of exposure compensation or flash compensation, but you're much better off trying to tell it what to do yourself.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because again, the reason why I asked compact cameras is a case of the reason why I brought this big bad boy is for a very, very long time. I actually didn't even have a decent camera. I would just use my cam phone, and then after a while, you kind of realize, yeah, I'm not really going to get far with this. So the problem I always had was I tend to do stuff on automatic, but then I kind of realized, yeah, that's not really working out. So then I go to manual, and then I realize, oh crap, I got to adjust the ISO, I got to adjust the white balance, I got to adjust the focus, and then you kind of realize the poor subject is like.
Yeah, well, that's what
I'm
comes.
one of these terrible cosplayers that literally just relies on photographers and just goes, "Thank you so much for taking pictures. Oh my god!" Because I am terrible with a camera, absolutely terrible. So I'm learning so much just sitting here and listening. To be honest.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely a massive revelation. But yeah,
what you do is you just sit there when you're watching telly and you fiddle with it and you take shots of things in your living room while you're watching the telly. And you just keep practicing with it.
If you have a friend, I'm very lucky, I have very attractive friends. And if you have a friend, just drag them along for a shoot and just keep practicing. I look at my stuff from 2 years ago, even a year ago, and I just cram that many shoots in, and I say to myself, I'm not very good at this. I'm going to try and do this really well on this shoot. And you just keep practicing and keep building up your experience, keep messing with settings. And it's a hobby that you have to put a lot of time and energy into learning it.
Oh, for sure.
But it's so rewarding when you do.
It's a little bit
rewarding.
like the whole cosplay thing, the whole cosplay journey. Cosplayers always say, I always say, if I look back at my costumes, from when I first started, they're a lot better now than what they were. And it's the same with photography. Practice makes perfect at the end of the day. But I'm definitely someone that I love my whenever Chris is not there, my photographer, Geordie Jump Photography, he's amazing. Whenever he's not there, I'm just like, Oh my god, I feel like literally at Amy, me and my two friends were there and we didn't have him with us and we were so spoilt. We were just like, oh my god, we have to take pictures ourselves now, what? So,
it's good having a photography friend.
It's great.
But I've got to say, a lot of my friends now, after so many years, won't come out with me if I'm taking the camera now.
Oh dear.
Because they've got fed up with so much time of taking pictures of them. So yeah, maybe don't abuse them too much, there, Kimberly.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, sweet. Anyway, yeah, like I said, we got ahead of ourselves, but that was on the list. Yeah, the equipment and accessories you have and / use. But so let's rewind it back. So, is there a difference between photographing cosplayers compared to the sort of more regular sort of stuff you do? Kimberly?
Do you want to go first, Kevin? No.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. No, it's all right. Yes, is the short answer for me. On some level, when I'm shooting a cosplayer, I'm wanting to tell a story with my images.
Ah, yes.
You're shooting a character. You're not just shooting somebody, like if you're doing boudoir and you're shooting somebody in lingerie,
Yeah,
want to make them
yeah, I'd imagine you wouldn't shoot an assassin, which I cosplay as, in the same way you would shoot, lingerie model.
I might. I don't know. But yeah,
now I'm just imagining an assassin in a lingerie pose.
You really want to tell a story, and a lot of cosplayers that you work with will not have done modeling, so you have to come prepared with ideas of poses and what angles are flattering to different people and things like that. But yeah, to me, it's a massive difference. And I love cosplay photography because of the fact that you're shooting a character and creating a story rather than just taking a pretty photo of somebody. As much as I love all sides of photography, that's my favourite part, and that's how I differentiate in my shoots.
Okay, because I've heard from certain togs, let's face it, some of these cosplayers, they're a little bit too entitled, which is a dirty word at the moment. And what you do when you come to a situation when you're not familiar with the characters, and some of the cosplayers are upset that you didn't shoot them in a flattering light or whatever?
Often I go to conventions and see costumes that I think are amazing and have no idea what the character is. Right, I really don't like Studio Ghibli, sorry. But one of my friends cosplayed... I know, I'm really sorry. One of my friends cosplayed San, so I didn't know anything about the character. So I sat down and was like, I don't know anything about the character, tell me a bit about your character. I know, I'm sorry. It just looks like it's drawn like a 7-year-old. Sorry. Moving on.
I'm not a big fan of anime in general, so I'm kind of with you on that one.
But she told me a bit about the character. Yeah, don't. She told me about the character, like where the character would live, what kind of environment she would be in, and like kind of woodlandy. So outside Kitacon there was this bit of woodland. We went there and we shot it at certain angles so you couldn't see all the buildings in the background and made it look like she was in the woodland. And so I'm honest. I'd rather be honest and shoot the character how it's supposed to be shot than shoot like a character that looks really cutesy but is actually a psycho killer, which seems to happen a lot in anime. So I've never
what my photographer does as well, as he'll literally just ask the cosplayer and be like, so tell me more about your character. And obviously you're getting more into, and that's why I always say to, like, with cosplayers, I always say, if you don't know your character that well, go work with the proper photographer who will really get you to, get your character out, basically, because you have to for the photos. And so that's usually how I've actually developed a lot of my characters personally, through cosplays, through working with Chris and working with other photographers to bring that character out. And like I said, it seems to work, so it's good.
No, it's funny because there was when I was discussing about the future of the show, there was a couple of cosplayers that they get kind of mildly annoyed with certain togs that like to pose and bend them, which is kind of bizarre because I personally like it when a tog actually poses and bends me, because I'm assuming he's got an idea. He's definitely got an idea of a good shot. I probably haven't thought of, but have you actually
Chris, because he's a good friend, he literally will come and move me into position sometimes because I am rubbish.
You gotta be so careful there. I mean,
it's a friend of mine anyway.
Yeah. You always ask people, is it okay if I just move you around a little bit? But yeah, I think you've got to understand from like the cosplayer position, they have no idea what's going on your camera, what you're seeing. So if like I will take a couple of shots and I'll get like a really nice shot and I'll show it on the back of the camera, and that gives that kind of trust between you, and then you can move into more maybe elaborate poses because they know that you're taking good shots of them.
Okay, for sure. Kev, would you echo a sentiment, or what is?
It was in some ways. Said a lot of my other photography is working to a brief. So I've been doing some work with the UK body paint project, say recently.
Oh yeah,
but then
that, yes.
But then it's a set brief. You know, they want shots to show off the artwork, not to show off fantastic poses from a model or your fantastic photography. It is purely so they can see what the art looks like they've painted. So, you know, they want a shot on black, they want a shot on white, they don't want any messing around with the colours or anything, you know, so you're working to a brief. And a lot of the time working with families, doing family shots in the studio is exactly the same. You know, they'll want a picture of mum and dad and the two kids, they've seen the venture pictures of against a white background jumping in the air or various different norms, and they'll just want the same thing. It's not very interesting because you're shooting something which, you know, stand there, look this way, smile, tee-hee, snap, there you go. Whereas shooting for cosplayers, it's a lot more interesting because obviously they'll be bringing their creativity to it as well.
Their props.
If they have them. A lot of the shots I've done recently didn't have a lot of props in them, which was a bit missing. But it's helpful if they do, and it's helpful if they've researched it before as well about posing and what the characters, how they act and how they bend. But having said that, one of the reasons I prefer to shoot on location or in the studio rather than at conventions is that we can actually have the discussions before the shoot. They can tell me what they're doing,
yes.
and then I can research it as well. I can have a look, draw some, if it's a comic characters, look at some of the cover artwork, look at some of the stories, see what happens in that. Because I would expect to do a few hours prep before a shoot just on the sorts of shots and what sort of ideas I've got, and then before we do any shooting at all, especially in the studio, we'll sit down, have a cup of tea and just go through the ideas of what sort of stock shots we want to get from the shoot. You know, because there's no point me ending up at the end of the day with a series of shots that I want, but that's not the ideas and what the cosplay wanted. You know, we've got to do it together as a team. So I need them to have had some ideas and some thoughts about it as well. And that's the difference between having some time and organising a shoot out of conventions and then just turning up a convention, saying, hello, do you mind if I take a shot? Holding up the light, take a snap. It's nice, and you can get some good shots. But it's a lot better, I think, and I think Kimberly would probably agree, to actually have time and plan a shoot, plan a location, and then both contribute to getting what you want from it. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something there.
No, this is excellent, because it leads us on very, very nicely to our next question, because you say prep work. Now I would assume when you're if you were doing a proper paid job, that would actually be factored into the cost then, because the next question is indeed the cost of doing photography compared to essentially the sort of free service that's just being offered out at conventions. So just atypically, you don't have to name specific case. What would a typical photo shoot cost? Because again, I'm in the dark about this as well.
Should I just say what it would cost if you were coming in to see me in the studio for an hour?
Oh, yes.
For a regular shoot.
An hour? Oh, you charge by the time. Oh,
I charge for a 10x8 print and an hour in the studio, and that's £35. Which is quite reasonable.
Which is actually a really, really good price.
It's a reasonable price.
Shoot.
Yeah, I'm not doing this as my only livelihood, I should say. But all I do, the only commercial shoots I do, is to pay my overheads, and then I can just play around. I do have other income coming in. So I do accounting as well. So it's not just photography.
Oh, okay.
But I've got to pay for the studio, and I'm not going to be out of pocket at it. So I do organise other shoots and do other shoots as well.
So that's a very reasonable price. But what would I probably expect to pay if it was a?
Well, that's a standard price from what I see, because in my other job, as said in the accountancy, I do get quite a lot of photography invoices coming across my desk for photographers that we employ, and £35 per hour is fairly standard from what I've seen. This is, of course, outside London.
Outside London? Oh, whoa.
I don't know what costs. Everything seems to be more expensive in London.
Yeah.
Oh my! So I have to look into that. So 35 is the going rate. Well, that's good.
Well, it's a standard from what I've seen that companies I do accounts for have charged. So, which is why I set that price.
Kimberly, do you charge as well? Does that sound?
I don't charge, but
I should say I don't charge cosplayers. I just want to put that in there. I'm not charging for the cosplay shoes. I do that for fun. That's my fun.
No, but again, it's something that people should definitely know, because I have personally felt. Again, I'm going to put this up on the screen when I do my jiggery, pokery. Okay, that sounds weird, but yeah, there's this cosplayer I work with, and I'll just bring up my profile pic, and he has got, and he's the. I'm going to say he's my designated photographer. It's like if I ever do a finished assassin, I'm going to probably go all the way up to the Midlands just to see him. And it's a good thing you point out that nice little price, so I can. And he's done it for free, but I feel very compelled to actually pay for his work now, because it's just excellent. It's just excellent work, and
I'm sure that'll absolutely make his day as well. I think a lot of cosplayers, once they found a photographer they really like working with, will go back to them again and again.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Whilst
Majority of my pictures on my cosplay page are taken by Geordie Gent, because basically Chris is a good friend as well, and it really helps, obviously, because I know he doesn't necessarily know the character, but he knows how to bring you out of your character. And usually I'm with a group as well, so we can all kind of get in character together. And he literally had me. One of my favourite shots is my Bellatrix. Is basically Chris got me to scream at one of my friends. He was like, "Just scream at her." Okay, so I screamed at her in character, and it's an amazing shot. And
it's really funny you say that. I did a Bellatrix shoot with one of my friends, and I got to do exactly the same thing.
Okay. Like I said, I'm just for the benefit of the viewers. Yep, I'm showing this cool pic by my designated photographer, Mr. Ramatus, and he there's an interesting story that goes with this. Okay, I think that's enough. Basically, I went to the Telford Comic Con, and there was this guy, I've forgotten, and he was like charging like a $5 for like some shots. He just put some cloth on the floor, and we all posed, and we never got our pictures back.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of weird, because it was like, oh, could you write your name down, so because I might forget to send you your picture. So we did actually pay money. It was a nominal fee. $5, because if you're telling me the going rate, even though it was like about barely 10 minutes work and whatever, and we never got our pictures back. But the next convention, which was Birmingham the next time, was just this guy walking around the floor, and it was like, I got my 2 red coats. I did a cool pose, and I had no idea. Like literally the next day, he actually just photoshopped, and he did this picture, and that has been my background image since, and I don't think I'm ever going to change it. And again, I was just thinking, that's amazing, because again, I paid some dodgy photographer a $5, and we never even got our pictures back, whereas this guy, he just the very next day, and I just got just through Facebook, it's like, whoa. And he's also done my profile pic as well, so yeah, I think
the vast majority of us do it for the love of it. We do it because we're just so passionate about it. So I can't even imagine going to a convention and charging people for me to have the pleasure to shoot them, because that's how I see it. It's such a pleasure shooting cosplays. It's so much fun, and then getting the photos and then editing them, sending them on, and getting that amazing reaction back from the pictures that you've taken. And I can't really get my head around charging.
Though, like for me personally, if someone's taken a really good shot of me, or a couple of really good shots, and then it's like, hey, I've got a studio set up, do you want to come down and shoot, and it'll cost you X amount. If it's not too expensive, I'm quite happy to do that.
There's nothing wrong with it at all. Like for some people, like as Kevin said, like sometimes doing shoots to cover overhead's not cosplay, but for some people, like they just need that bit of money to say hire the studio, travel and things like that, just to cover their costs.
I mean, I've personally never done it, but I would, if Chris has said to me, hey, do you want to do this? And he's probably going to hold me to that now. But he's never charged me.
If you go to something like MCM Expos or I'm assuming London Film and Comic Con. But will be places set up inside, usually to take your picture, maybe sitting in the Iron Throne, and print off for you. We did that at Minami years ago, where we just set up a couple of studio lights, dropped a cloth, and people paid a few quid and had a printout of their picture. And that was probably Minami 7, so quite a few years ago now.
I'm trying to think which Minami I went to, because I think I went to one of the really, really first ones, which I think was the second one way back in 1998. And yeah, I kind of went off Minami because it wasn't really a convention; it was a club.
It is, which I haven't been for years either. But so we did that there, and I'm sure I've done it somewhere else as well, where we did just set up. I think the first time we didn't. The technology wasn't there at the time to print the pictures and give them to people on the time. So we did, as you're saying, we collected funds off people. They filled in their name and address on an envelope, and then we had them printed out and sent out to them. But that was years ago. And nowadays, sorry, Kimberly.
Sorry. I was going to say, I think the difference is, like, I can go, say, round a con and just take photos of who I want to photograph. If people are coming up to you and you set up all your studio equipment and stuff, and you're just charging like a couple of quid, like anyone that wants a photograph can have a photograph. Whereas, like, I guess I would have like the benefit of being able to walk around and kind of photograph whoever I want to, really. Like, an example would be, I've taken a lot of Harley Quinn photographs.
Yeah, you would definitely do a lot of those, I would imagine, yeah.
But now it's got to the point where I kind of don't want to do any more, because I've just done many shooting the same character that I feel like, do you know what, I've kind of done this already.
I'm sure you'll see some in new outfits soon.
Controversial outfits at that.
Squad. Oh, it doesn't look that bad. It could have been a lot worse.
You know what? Yeah, I don't see the kerfuffle. I don't see the kerfuffle either, because I think it's fine. I mean, I can understand why people are upset, but at the same time, you couldn't really imagine the Bruce. You know, was it Dini and the Bruce? Yeah, that's it. That was the creators. Damn, I'm gonna get slaughtered in the comments about it. The classic Harley Quinn with the big hat and that, because that's the kind of reason why she's got pigtails, because they're supposed to be. Because I watched the original animated Batman series, and Harley Quinn didn't actually have pigtails in her normal look. She had a ponytail.
I think you can't please everybody. I think no matter what they'd come out with, some people would have been annoyed. So I'm just going to wait and see the film. We were all surprised by Heath Ledger. You know, maybe we'll all be surprised by these new films. So give it a go.
Right, hold up. We're gonna. We're rolling again, and again, much editing later, and this is a nice time to talk about the ownership of images. Now, this is a pretty controversial. Well, not controversial. It's been popping up a lot. It's like, let's say if a model wants to use an image for money, or the TOG wants to use it, and then vice versa. Because we're in this bizarre situation where a photographer will just randomly take a picture of a cosplayer, and that's it. Because normally, isn't there a procedure for this? Like a model would sign a release form, so-and-so, something like that?
Shall I go first with this one?
Yeah, sure. I think so.
A model release form has absolutely no standing in law. No.
Oh, so who owns the picture then?
Photographer does, always.
Always?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. If you own the picture, you own the copyright as well. Sorry, it's
as simple as that, unfortunately. Now, don't get me wrong, model releases are really good. Good idea. If I'm doing a shoot in the studio or organise a shoot, I try to always use one. And that's because I can use it to set expectations. So in the release, I'll say, we'll talk through the release before the shoot, and we'll both sign it. And the release will say, I should deliver so many pictures in X amount of time, and it says what we can both do with them. And if we want to do something which isn't listed there, then we need to talk about it. So in my release, and I do have several different ones, but in my standard release, it says that we can both use the pictures we take for publicity. We can both submit them to magazines if we wanted, but neither of us can sell them for a profit without discussing it with the other one and getting the other person's agreement first. And that, so as well as setting the timeline of when they can expect pictures and a minimum number they can expect, it just lets people know. It manages their expectations of what they think they're going to get at the end of the day. Because without that, if you don't say anything, people don't know what they can do. They'll do something which you haven't agreed with.
Oh, yes.
They, like selling pictures of prints or something. They'll complain because you took hundreds of pictures, but you've only given them 20. It could be that as a photographer, they thought they'd get the pictures back the next day or the same day, but it would take me a couple of weeks to go through them and develop them. There's all sorts of expectations in there, which unless you actually manage it, list it and talk about it and agree to it before the shoot, can lead to all sorts of problems afterwards. Now this is obviously a lot more relevant to an organised shoot rather than just taking a snap at a convention.
I see. Okay. So the Tog has that's his work. That is.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. In the same way, the cosplayer owns the costume and the performance, the photographer owns the photograph and the copyright for the image.
Oh, sweet. Funny.
And I think there's not really enough understanding about all of this as well.
And that's why we're educating people now. Yes.
Now, if a photographer is employed by an agency or is working specifically for someone, then they might be taking a picture on behalf of that company. So it could be that company owns the copyright rather than the person to push the button. But there was a case recently, wasn't there, about a monkey which used a camera?
Oh yes, I remember that. The monkey took a selfie allegedly. Yeah.
Yeah, and the photographer sold it, and then there was all sorts of arguments because the paper used it, didn't they? And they said they weren't paying the photographer because the photographer didn't take the picture. So there's all sorts of arguments like that. But he'd set up the camera, he'd set it up so the monkey would use it. But because the monkey took the picture, the newspaper didn't see why they should pay for the image.
I've just got this mental image of a monkey being in the little plaintiff, little courtroom.
It was more of a photographer wanting the money, I think, more than the monkey not getting paid.
I think there's a lot of stuff like this around at the minute because
a lot indeed, yes.
Yeah, a lot of the main problem I have is not so much like the ownership. I'm fairly easygoing. I don't even watermark my photos because I feel like it ruins them.
Yes, yeah.
Which is not very good because yes, I have found my pictures in the far corners of the internet saying it was done by somebody else. But for me, it's if we've taken this photograph and I've given you the photograph, I've not charged you, I've not put a watermark on it or anything like that. The least that they can do is credit me as a photographer. Absolutely. And there's been a lot of it's really frustrating when somebody shares your photo on a really popular site and it gets thousands and thousands of views and they've not credited you. And it's not like I want it for the credit, it's that could then lead me to finding new people to photograph and people that might enjoy my work. It's purely come on, I've done this photograph and I've tagged you every time I might have shared it. And it's very frustrating, and I think that's why there's been a lot of angst coming out about the copyright and things. But yeah, if you take the photograph, you own it. And but when it comes to selling prints, a couple of people have asked me if it's okay to sell some of the prints of photos that I've taken them because I've not done any kind of prior agreement model release form or anything like that. I usually just say, yeah, that's fine. As long as you give me a quid or something.
A quid?
Most of the time I'm just yeah, it's fine, I'm not bothered. Because I don't sell my photos as prints. Mostly because I don't think people would buy them.
Okay. Actually, Kev, running back a bit, from what I understand, I think some of your work appeared in Neo magazine, so you gave them permission or stuff like that?
That's what I was saying before. When I do a shoot with somebody in the studio or an organised shoot on location, we fill in that model release. We say in there that both parties, if they want to, can submit pictures to magazines.
Oh, I see.
If they want to sell them, and some people have come back and wanted to use them in prints, then I usually give them a usage agreement, which will allow them to sell certain items for a certain length of time. So I'll say, okay, you can sell that print. You can sell that print in sizes from A to Z for the next 12 months, and after that we'll come back and talk about it again. But so I gave them usage. I still retain copyright. It's still my photograph, but I've allowed them usage of a specific image for a specific purpose for a specific amount of time. But as far as magazines and things like that go, I don't. It's good publicity for anybody. And so once again, same as Kimberly, as long as they'll reference back to photographer, I'm happy. Because once again, all I want is the chance of shooting more cosplayers.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Okay. It's just getting your name out there so you can meet new people to photograph, because that's why we do it and that's what we love, and that's all you really want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, this is definitely a big edge.
I don't think anybody's going to get rich selling prints.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I mean, not unless you shot, I don't know, raising the flag of Iwo Jima or stuff like that.
Exactly. But what I mean is the standard cosplay photographer prints, which you see on the tables, which the cosplayers sign, I don't think they sell them for a great deal of cash. So no. I don't think there's much profit in there. So I'm not going to
I'm not really bothered about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
If they sell them, they still sell my photograph. It's fine. It's nice.
Yeah,
I was going to say I've never sold prints or any of that stuff because I'm not that big a cosplayer. But as somebody that, like I said, always appreciates a really good photo, I will always credit the photographer, no matter whether it's my photographer or someone else, whoever it is. I will always credit them, even if they don't have a photography page. I've credited my friend before for taking a picture, because she's taken a really good picture, and it's like, well, there you go, because for me, like I said, I'm rubbish at taking pictures, so for me it's always like, I appreciate that someone else can take really good photos, so I will always credit back. Like, it's one thing that I'm really hot on. If I see someone using a photo like that's not been credited, I will actually message them and correct them and say, hey, you might want to credit that.
I found it really hard recently, though, tagging people's pages on Facebook.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
Well.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Yeah,
I don't know why.
I was trying to tag a few people, and I was just like, it's not working. But as long as you at least write it in there.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll try and write it, and I'll paste a link to their page underneath or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm finding it really hard to try and tag pages, especially.
I'm finding that some people have them as personal profiles instead of pages now as well.
Yeah, that's
and I can't tag that on my page, so I just put a link to their personal profile, and it's the best I can do.
Okay, moving slightly forward. This is an interesting one, because it's definitely something a lot of people that want to do their little amateur photo shooters. The legality of the outdoor photo shoots, because I had some lofty ideas. Yeah, I'm gonna do an Assassin's Creed shoot. I'm gonna go to a castle, and then you kind of realize, oh wait, that's owned by English Heritage. They might not appreciate me They might not appreciate me standing up on their battlements with, with all my little fake weaponry and my crew.
Yeah, I think some places are okay with it and some places aren't, and the only thing you can do really is, in every instance, just like send an email or try and call them. I mean, as long as you send an email and you try to call them, if nobody gets back to you, you got a kind of record there that you've made the effort. And then if you go and somebody tells who you are, you can just be like, but I emailed you and I tried to call you. But I've never been in a position where they haven't responded. So, but I know a few people that have been kicked out of places because they're not supposed to photograph there, and some people that have said, "Oh, should we just go and try it anyway?" Even though they said no, and it's like, no, I don't think you should do that.
No, because even more locally, it was like the last Birmingham MCM. It was like you had some pretty jobs worth security that says, "Oi, you can't shoot your video or photos in here. Really? You can only do it. Yeah, because it's all separated by halls and all that. They was like, you could only do it within the halls. That apparently you couldn't shoot it around the outside property. Because all the cosplays.
I've been to other events, not cosplay events, at the NEC in the past, and we have been told we can't shoot in or out of the building. So you can't shoot on the outsides and we can't shoot on the insides. You can only physically shoot in the halls themselves, and we have been physically moved on several times. So that's happened to me on a number of different times. Now, having said that, didn't think to happen at Comic-Con, And I think that's because there was just so many people taking pictures. I don't think the security could actually
they were
cope.
overwhelmed. Yeah.
Exactly. With that many photographers taking pictures in their halls, I don't think there's much they could do about it.
Yeah,
I think that's what we need to do in future. Just like take a big gang of people.
So it's like the walking across the road philosophy. If tons of other people do it, then you can get away with it.
If it's organised, you'll be fine. No, don't do it.
You'll get run over. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah, or if you have big groups in the centre of London or something, you'll get done for causing obstruction or something like that as well, can't you? They don't like you having big groups in London.
No, because, I remember somebody tried to organise a photo shoot in Trafalgar Square, then somebody pointed out, you can't actually really do that. Though, again, it's a bit weird considering tourists take all kinds of casual snaps anyway.
Yeah. You find that in a lot of places, but if once again, that's the advantage of using a compact. If there's just one person there taking pictures and it doesn't look like they're using professional gear, you can get away with a lot more than if you turn up with, I don't know, half a dozen photographers with big cameras and light stands and all the rest of it. And I've seen that a lot.
I was going to say, because I've never ever been stopped when we've done photo shoots, ever really.
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen it because I was taking part in a couple of cosplay music videos, and it was like all of a sudden, nope, you can't do this in there, and we had to be moved on, and we physically went back into a hall, so we shot it in the video, we shot it in the ticket hall, so technically we were in a hall.
There's lots of places in Manchester where we've been stopped shooting in the past, and you get to know where you can't shoot and where you can.
Yeah.
So don't try shooting.
Yeah. Once you find a really nice couple of places to shoot, you tend to kind of go back and back and back.
Yeah. A lot of the places around Piccadilly in Manchester are owned by one company. So even though these are the streets and the lanes between buildings, it's still private land. And you can't shoot there without permission.
That's
Media
interesting.
Media City is another one where you can get a permit to shoot, and quite often tourists go around and they're fine. But once it looks like you're doing something proper, they'll want to see your permit. So you need to apply for things in advance. It reminds me, there was a shoot in Manchester a few months ago which got into the local paper. They were filming a zombie shoot.
Okay, sounds cool. Keep going.
It was quite close to where our studio is, which is why I happened to notice it in the paper. Basically, they hadn't notified the police that they were doing it, and they were using fake firearms.
Oh dear!
And when the police turned up to ask them what was going on, obviously they hadn't got a case notice to show them that they'd already had it cleared. So the police asked them to stop, and then apparently they got rather shirty about it. With the police, so the police decided that they weren't just going to tell them to move on, and I believe they arrested them.
Bloody! Mind you, though, that's kind of a bit silly. You don't really challenge, the authority.
Well, you don't really go out in Manchester near Piccadilly
with
Station
guns.
with fake guns for stuff.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way: when my Jane goes out in Manchester, I am unarmed. I just have the empty holsters. I am not stupid, especially on match day.
And if you are doing something, you tell the police. You let them know that something's going on.
Police are just doing their job. There's no reason to get
exactly.
Yeah, that reminds me of a charity event I did. It was called Invasion Colchester. The thing is, it was already cleared with the police, but unfortunately one guy that was dressed up as the Punisher turned up half an hour early. Obviously the Punisher, yes, arsenal, weapons.
Yeah. But the police have to do their job, So if they do turn up to your shoot and say why you're there with swords or there with bow and arrow in a city centre, then you need to. Or they ask you to put them away or do something with them. You don't get shirty with them. You do what they tell you to do.
Was it KitterCon where that guy ended up on the roof of the hotel with his fake gun, and it caused all the police to come out and kind of arrest him? It was a con, I remember, because I was there and all the police came out. It was a bit silly, wasn't it?
Really silly.
Kind of maybe getting arrested was what you needed.
Like I said, there's been a lot of these incidents now, and again with a lot of cosplayers with especially with airsoft stuff. It definitely doesn't bode well. But anyway.
Well, we did a shoot in the studio recently where we were shooting in the car park, and you're right, we were using airsoft weapons then, but it was in an enclosed space with an organised shoot. Where the people in the building knew what was going on ahead of time, so it wasn't an issue. And that's all you need to do. Just make sure that you're not, not just wandering around the middle of a city centre waving weapons around in the air.
Yeah, I think common sense can just be exercised, definitely, for sure.
You would hope.
I was going to say, all I do is I just literally shove my fake guns, which have all got blaze tips anyway, but obviously you can't see them in the holster. You just shove them in a bag that no one can see when you're on your way to the con, and when you're on your way out of the con. Just at the con, you then take them out. It's not difficult.
Like that guy that got arrested on the train in cosplay. Was it on the?
Exactly.
I can't remember what con it was on the way to. But he got arrested because he had all his weapons on him.
Oh.
And obviously, most people don't really think, it's cosplay. They think there's somebody on the train and they've got guns.
Do you know what? Do you know what he was cosplaying? But for charts.
No.
I know there's been a Deadpool arrest.
Yeah, that was in Australia. I remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
I would think, though, if it were Deadpool, it might be a bit more obvious, but...
Yeah, or he could be a bank robber that was disguised as Deadpool with a small arsenal of grenades and
You're
sword.
just giving people ideas now.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, if you want to organise a shoot somewhere, get permission first.
It's simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that definitely ties us up. And this is an interesting topic. The ethics of using Photoshop to enhance pictures. Now, this is kind of interesting. I know a couple of models. They've requested that, the togs Photoshop out the bags under their eyes because it was like really early morning and that. But then,
use more makeup. Just use more makeup, Jesus.
But then they're worrying whether or not that's the slippery slide to while you're at it, could you just make my waist a little bit thinner? So. What is the ethics of using Photoshop? Have either of you used Photoshop before to sort of enhance a picture, or?
Do you want to go first, Kev?
Well, no, because I know your standard answer to when people say just Photoshop it.
Okay, Kim, go first. I want to hear this.
Right, I'll start off by saying yes, I do use Photoshop. I mostly use Photoshop to maybe change lighting a bit or maybe add some nice effects to it. If somebody's got like this big spot on their cheek on the day that they would not normally have, I will happily remove that. I don't see a problem with that.
Definitely seems fair enough, yes.
If somebody has moles that are like just kind of part of them, I would just leave them because that's part of them. I would never, ever, ever make somebody slimmer on Photoshop. I've no problem with people that do and people that ask to be made slimmer. That's totally their choice. For me personally, I just don't believe in it and I don't do it. I've done a lot of shoots where people have just used the line, "Can't you Photoshop it out?" And it's like, and it's ridiculous stuff. Like you're taking a picture of somebody and then a car goes by in the background, the car is like right there. And they're like, "Oh, you can just Photoshop it out." And like, well, I could just take the picture again.
Yeah, just retake the picture.
Yeah, because they don't realise it's quite a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. Learning Photoshop is a completely separate skill to learning photography. And I mean, the trick is to get it right in camera first if you can. But sometimes you might want to like add a bit to it, and I don't have a problem with that. But I'm not going to go like spending an hour removing a car when I could just take the photo again. And it's like when people maybe like their wig has slipped a bit, and you're like, "Oh, you just need to pull the wig down a bit," and you tell them obviously. And they're like, "Oh, you can just Photoshop it." It's like, well,
oh dear,
I'm not going to. You can just pull down your
really
wig.
demanding models. Seriously, I'm just
yes, for free service, as we've just pointed out. Yes,
it's just it amuses me, but it also, I guess, can wind me up a little bit because I'm not a Photoshop pro by any means. I mean, Kev is much better at Photoshop effects than I am. I don't have a problem. Like some of my favourite photographers, Creative Edge Studios, if you know them, what they can do with Photoshop is just mind blowing. If you don't know who they are, just like go now to Facebook.
Well, I can't just intercede there, but cosplay is getting fairly mainstream at the moment. This is the latest edition of the Professional Photo magazine.
Oh, wow.
With an article in it by Creative Edge about editing pictures for cosplay.
Yes.
So
plug in Creative Edge, you're welcome.
So yeah, basically, it's all is how to edit pictures of Spider-Man and Black Cat. So,
and he's very good at providing tutorials and doing videos and stuff. He's very good at what he does.
That shows how mainstream cosplay is getting when it becomes the cover picture of a professional photo magazine.
We're definitely going to get on there to our guest topic because again, I think you and I, Kev, we've definitely seen a massive change since the 90s. But anyway, finishing off this topic, so Kev, your stance on Photoshop?
As far as what I'll do to a person, I'm exactly the same as Kimberly. I will take out some pimples. I will fix anything which is non-permanent, which has happened to the person.
That's reasonable. Yes.
So if they've got a bruise or something like that, I might try and clear that up. I may try and smooth out some makeup. Depends, but I won't do any body sculpting. That's not what my photographs and what I'm about. So I don't do any body sculpting. I'm trying to learn more Photoshop. Most of my pictures are edited in Lightroom. I do play around a lot with lighting. So a lot of my pictures I will light properly, so it's a nice even lighting, and then I'll make it more dramatic in Lightroom. So I do use Lightroom for that. But I'm trying to learn more Photoshop. I've been to a course with Andrew Dobell from Creative Edge. I've been to another couple of courses. And I've been on another couple of courses as well because I'm trying to learn that. But it's not my current skill set. Technology is changing all the time. What you can do is changing all the time. And I'm if you don't learn new skills, it just gets boring again. So while I want to learn and work with more cosplayers, I also want to learn and develop new skills as well. So, okay, I can get my camera gear out. I don't have to concentrate too much now on just getting a nice snap. But, so my next stage now is trying to learn more Photoshop with it. But that's not body sculpting. It doesn't have to be. Yeah. This is to do with maybe compositing, though I'm still not so sure about that. But it's a lot to do with special effects and what else you can add to the picture. Which, as long as I label the picture that that's what I've done, I don't have a problem with that.
I'm exactly the same. Building up skills at the minute in Photoshop and just pushing yourself to go that little bit further with it. But again, no body sculpting, just like composites and things like that. But my God, it's hours and hours and hours and hours of work learning skills in Photoshop. Probably I've spent more time learning Photoshop than I have photography. And there's just so much you can do with it, and it takes so much practice. I don't think people realise how much work you put into things outside of shoots to get better.
Yeah, I said what I did was, to start with, was I went on a basic beginner's course at my local college in Stockport, just on the basics of Photoshop. So you can learn, what the program can do. And then from that, I've just gone on other courses to try and get more out of it. But it's such a huge program that can do so many different things. And, I'm just still scraping the edge of it, really. Yeah. But no body sculpting. I don't know why some photographers feel it's necessary.
I was going to say, from the other perspective, from the cosplayer perspective, I know, Chris, who I obviously work with a lot, it's basically use really basic stuff. Like when I'm in our Harry Potter ones, we do he has spells, and so he has a little flash of light and stuff like that. So it's really basic special effects. And I know he does edit stuff when, like you said, non-permanent stuff. I've got a huge spot on my chin or something like that. He'll edit it out. But also, I think there is an onus on the cosplayer as well. Is if the wig's slipping, adjust the wig. So they're not wearing enough makeup to cover their bad skin, wear more makeup. I've realised as soon as I take a picture, when I'm testing on makeup or something, I go, oh, I need more makeup here to emphasise my eyes or to whatever. I think there's also an onus on the cosplayer as well. You see a picture you don't particularly like, there's usually a reason for it. And you see a casual snap from the con floor. To be honest, it's usually my face that Chris likes to emphasise, my dirt faces, which I'm very good at.
I love dirt photographs.
I have so many. And Chris likes to specialise in them because he's nice like that. But in terms of Photoshop, like you said, I would actually hate it if someone decided they wanted to edit my body. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
That's
it's like saying you're not
underwear's
good
for
already.
that, Yeah, exactly. Underwear's good for that. Underwear can make you look, busty or curvy or, pull your waist in or make you look like more like a guy with a binder. That's what underwear's for. That's what posing is for.
I can't help but agree on like the makeup side as well. I'll just say Lady Fancy Pants, who I work with an awful lot, is exceptionally good at makeup. And whenever we do our panel, she does talk a little bit about makeup because it really makes such a massive difference, especially in close-ups. Like cameras will pick up so much. Like her line is, "If you think you're wearing enough, you're not." It's really important though. Like, I mean, I get awful circles under my eyes, and so if I'm going to have photos taken, I'm going to do the best that I can to minimize that myself, rather than rely on the photographer to Photoshop them out, because I don't really feel that that's very fair. And I find photoshopping out circles under the eyes really difficult, actually, because they're so close to the eye. And I don't have like that level of skill of Photoshop. So like anything that you can do as a cosplayer to kind of make the job a little bit easier is very much appreciated and most often remembered.
Okay. Finally, bit of an odd topic, but I've come across this. There's been a couple of dodgy photographers. I mean, again, this might not necessarily apply to cosplay, but definitely on my feed, I was reading that there were a couple of togs that would not allow chaperones for their models because apparently the models are distracted by their presence. What would you say to that?
Rubbish. I personally don't agree at all, and I think if you want a chaperone, you should be able to have a chaperone.
I've got to say, from my point of view, when it's in the studio, it's really handy for me if when the cosplayer comes along, they bring somebody else with them, because quite often, getting into the costumes, getting made up, they need help. It's hard to do on your own. So having somebody there to help is really handy.
I totally enlist them.
If we're out on location, they can hold the lights. They can make sure the light stand doesn't fall over. They can carry bags, So for me, it's useful. Having said all that, not on the cosplay side, but on my regular photography side, I have had, shall we say, chaperones which are boyfriends, trying to egg on their partners to be to show more than they should do, and that I find uncomfortable. So I don't want to be in the middle of those discussions between the two of them about what they want to get out of a shoot. So in those instances, I can understand people saying that having somebody along who's, say, a partner can be maybe not the best idea.
Yeah, I can see it from both sides. Because I've done a shoot before where somebody brought their friend along, and their friend was just so distracting. Like they thought it was really funny to keep making them laugh, and it's like, actually, I'm trying to take some photos. But like 99% of the time, a chaperone has just been really useful, because sometimes I use like a Philips Living Colour lamp, and it gives you like all different colours of the rainbow. It's an amazing piece of kit. And but it needs to be quite close, and it needs to be held by somebody well. You've come along, you can work whilst you're here. But
in terms of posing as well, if you have someone else that can kind of like for example, I've been in so many poses where it's like I can't hold that pose, or my friend can't hold that pose, and it's like if you just kind of go in and support them, and then kind of run away when the picture's being taken, it's quite useful too.
Yes.
It's also handy to have another set of eyes as well, because sometimes I won't spot if there's the wig slipped a bit, or one of the costumes has gone slightly, wonky or something. Whereas at least if there's another pair of eyes there, they're more likely to spot it than I am, because I'm concentrating, is the pose right, is the light right? I might miss something else, which is quite fundamental, which will ruin the picture.
You get like right in the zone when you're doing photographs, like it's a really fluid process, I find, and you just like moving from one shot to the other, and sometimes you do miss things, and like I often say to people, you're on wig duty today, you tell me if that wig slips, that is your job. And it is really, and sometimes, that's my line, and sometimes they think of stuff that maybe you've not thought of, and I'm not egotistical to the point that I think all my ideas are the most amazing things in the world. I'm quite happy to take on board other people's ideas and give it a try. I mean, the worst that happens is it doesn't work out, and then the cosplayer is probably never going to see that image, because I'm not going to send them an unflattering photograph. So, it's always good to have another person around, really.
Okay.
As a female photographer, I'll just say, when I've done shoots with males, I've been known to bring my partner along as a chaperone. And if anyone had a problem with that, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not doing that shoot.
Okay. Actually, it's not on the list, but I think I might as well throw it in because I rarely answer gender-based questions because, again, I've said on my big status feed, Mel, Kimberly, you don't speak for every single woman out there. But I think the whole
definitely not.
But
not even 5% of them.
Yeah, but I think generally speaking, a lot of people would say I would rather a female speak on behalf than, well, not. But but Kimberly, would you say if you were shooting another lady, would they be more at ease because of your gender than if it was, well, Kevin? Sorry.
Poor.
Having been behind the camera, it's, I guess, a little difficult to answer. It depends on the shoot. I mean, if you're doing a boudoir shoot, possibly. But if you're working with people that are models rather than cosplayers, and they tend to not have any biases to whether you're male or female whatsoever, because, they're in the business. I've never, ever had somebody turn around and say to me, I'm more comfortable with working with you because you're a woman. And I've never actually met a creepy male photographer. I am probably creepier than any male photographers I've ever met. So I think it's a real shame that there is like a little bias out there as well, because most of the best photographers I know are male. I don't know many female photographers. And it's such a shame that they already have that barrier that they have to overcome. When really their work should speak for themselves. But I think if you have a photography page and you have the reviews section open, like I have my reviews section open, people can leave reviews. So if people want to work with me, I can send them along to read the reviews so that it maybe gives them a little peace of mind. And I think that's a good way to maybe get around it if you find that people are worried about that. But it really shouldn't be. If you do your research into your photographer and don't just go along without thinking about it, should be fine.
Also personal recommendations as well.
Yeah, it worries me a bit when I hear people going to, say, London Expo, and then a photographer says, can I take some pictures of you, do you mind if we just come around here and go into the car park? Things like that do worry me a bit. If it's somebody they don't know and they're just going off alone to have some pictures taken with somebody they've met seconds before.
But that doesn't matter, I think, whether you're male or female for that. I think either way,
I could just as easily be a psycho killer as anybody.
Exactly. I'm sure you are.
But no,
I had an event recently where we just opened it up to have a few photographers come into the studio, and the cosplayers just turn up, have some pictures taken either in the studio or in the building or out in the car park. Basically, because I know some people are nervous about just, rocking up to a studio, never been into a studio before, not having worked with a photographer before. So I thought we'll have a nice open day and people just can come along and just see what it's like and what it's about with their friends. Having said that, we then got a report afterwards that there'd been a creepy photographer there, asking ladies to show a bit more of their underwear. Now, if somebody had mentioned this at the time, we would have thrown them out. Yeah. But once again, I didn't hear anything about it until after the day.
Oh no!
Whereas, but that's just not on.
It is such a minority of people as well that really spoil it and make it more difficult for the photographers. I mean, I would just say, if you're wanting to go and do a shoot with a photographer, get reviews. Find some reviews however best you can. Always take a chaperone with you. If the photographer says no, just don't go. It's not worth it. Because there are creeps out there. And if they don't have a page and they don't have reviews and they're refusing a chaperone, that should start ringing alarm bells for you, really.
Yeah, because it just seems normally I would assume, anyone that has a press pass, that's sort of, they've been vetted, they are legit photographers, but it's been recent.
I'm not sure how much some events do any vetting at all, to be honest.
Yeah, but it has been the case I've noticed. There are some people that you've just wondered how the hell did they get a press pass?
Yeah, and for some people, getting a press pass is to encourage that kind of trust, to encourage people to maybe go somewhere a bit more private. So I think if you're at a con and somebody says, "Oh, can we just go where there's like a few less people?" which I ask people quite often, I'll always say like, "Do you want to bring your friend?" Or let's say, like, you know, if they say, "Oh, I want to be in front of you," yeah, it's totally fine. We'll take pictures of them too. It's no problem. Just always make sure there's another person. It actually protects you as a photographer as well if there's more than one person there.
I was going to say, safeguarding wise, if you've got someone else as well, actually, like I said, putting my health and safety hat on for a minute here, it protects both of you anyway, so you're actually better.
Yeah.
Okay. So
as a photographer, your reputation is everything. The minute somebody says something negative, especially in a kind of creepy photographer term, that can be your reputation completely ruined, and nobody will want to work with you. And I think it's been happening like lately on like a photography group that I'm in on Facebook, and somebody made an allegation about one of the photographers that turned out to be false, but now his reputation's ruined and he'll probably never work again.
Yes.
And it's really sad.
Yeah, sadly, there's way too much controversy about certain photographers. Again, I don't want to go into all of them because there's simply way too many to list. But yes, we can definitely say there are dodgy photographers. So
sure.
some more dodgy than others. But just to conclude, definitely, if somebody ever says you can't bring a chaperone, then no,
walk away.
Yes.
Yeah, just don't. It's not worth it. I mean, really, is like the risk of something happening worth maybe a few good photos? It's not worth it.
Okay, all right, and all right, guys, and now we're at the tail end of the show where we now talk about some host topics. So, who's got them then? Kim, Kevin?
I don't mind starting off with something.
Go on.
Something that's quite dear to my own heart is the artistic side of photography. You have to learn your technical side of photography and to get the best out of your camera. But for me, like, the real joy is in the artistic nature of your photography and making it stand out from other people's. I really enjoy messing about with lighting and taking things from angles, like quite extreme angles, flattering poses, lots of laying down on the floor. There's lots of get up, get down, get up, get down,
Yeah.
get a lot of exercise on my shoots. And I think sometimes people overlook that kind of artistic nature because photography is an art, and to really make it your own, you know, you really need to think about that kind of thing, even just down to like the locations, thinking about your backgrounds, making sure there's not people walking through. Is there a building in there that spoiled it? Just that kind of stuff is like really, really important to me. If anyone's ever been to one of my panels, they'll hear me harp on about it quite a lot.
But you know, I've been to one of your panels. I will say now I've been to Kimberly's panel with Hannah at Amicon, and it was really good. Literally, we were supposed to leave for a video halfway through. We didn't because we were like, no, we want to stay here and listen to this. Basically, these guys actually inspired us to start doing something different because again, me and my friends were on our own at Amicon. We didn't have our normal photographer with us. And we basically got inspired to actually do some different shots and to do more sort of from above and different angles and things like that. And basically, I have like one of my favourite shots of my Mystique now. Literally, we're just in the hotel room on the bed, kind of trying to do sexy pose. And yeah, it really worked. And it was from Kimberly's.
You sent me a picture of that, didn't you? It was really, really good. That's what I want to do, just like really inspire more people to do it. And everybody gets like shots of them at a con. It's like a standard full body shots. I'd like to give people something different. I mean, it's much easier done on a shoot outside of cons. But even just going to cons, you got much more control, nicer locations. But even at cons, like if you can just find like that little section, you take it from the right angle, you can make it look like that person is somewhere completely different. You do it in your back garden. It's just something like I really harp on about is like that, because I'm not a very good technical photographer. I'm not very good with kits and or like I can do settings, obviously, but like I'm not like a major whiz at them. And so for me, like the beauty of it is in the artistry. I just wanted to like kind of throw that out there. And can I just give you a tip that my friend who's a burlesque dancer told me? When you're posing, most people say, I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm going to do a blog about this, by the way, but in the meantime, I used to do dancing as well, and we both learned the same thing of when you're posing your hands, make it like you're picking a star out of the sky with these two fingers.
All right.
It makes it look so much more delicate if you just hold your finger like that. Not like a kind of like, okay, but like a delicate, instead of bending that finger, bend the middle finger, and it gives your hand this beautiful
I'm rubbish with
look.
hands. This is awesome.
I'm going to tell you when I post my blog about hands.
Okay, next time I dress up as an assassin, I'll bear that in mind. I'm not quite sure it fits in.
Assassin, yeah. I guess it's more for ladies.
Well, you never know. There might be some lady assassins.
Of me.
Okay.
But anyway, that's just my thing is if you're going to go into cosplay photography, think about the artistic side of it. Give people something that they're not getting from anybody else, and you'll start to make a name for yourself in the cosplay photography scene.
No, it's no, for sure. Because a lot of pictures, they are just pretty utilitarian for whatever better word. Because they want to see that costume. I want to see a close up of that gun. But they don't. Yeah, for one of a better word. Yeah, they just want to get the details in, but not necessarily, as you say.
So the character.
Yeah, that's
you want to get character in the shot. That's my bit.
Okay. No, for sure. I'll definitely again. The thing is, in theory, I should know this because I'm actually an artist, but that's the weird thing because it's a completely different discipline. Because as an artist, I've got complete control. I draw the composition, whereas in theory, it should be a lot easier because I just take a picture. But no, it's as you were saying, taking a picture from above. Isn't there a sort of language to that? Because if you shoot somebody from above, you actually make them smaller, whereas you shoot them from below, you make them a lot larger, and of course, you have to avoid sort of shooting up their noses as well.
I'm a really short person as well. I'm like 5'3", so most people are taller than me. So that's why in my shoots you have to expect a lot of, can you just kneel down a little bit? And then take those like really downwards angle shots. I always say like if you can kneel down in your outfit, but it's very slimming to take downwards angle shots. And like if somebody's lying down taking a shot from the head looking down the body is also very flattering to a lot of body sizes. And taking an upwards angle shot is really good for men because it gives them that broader, more powerful look. But it's not many women can pull off the upwards angle shots. Some can look amazing, but you've got to kind of judge it on the person what's going to be flattering for them, because you want to give people flattering photographs. It's like Kevin said, you're taking it just as much as for the cosplayer as you are for yourself, so you want to give them shots that they're happy with and flattering.
It depends on the character as well, but I've done a lot of shots where I'm laying on the ground shooting up with female characters when it's been something like
you do those very well,
when it's been something like Ms. Marvel. Excuse me. So I want it to be a strong, powerful image. So by shooting low down while she's sort of doing almost a Superman pose, it gives more strength to the image, and having her in more of a manly angle. Because normally if I was shooting a female, I would turn them to the camera, whereas a man I would shoot more straight on.
Also crossplay as well. Crossplay straight on. Yep. Straight on, exactly. Shoulders back.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that's a good fact.
So I do quite a few shots from low down, but it depends on what you're shooting, as well as the person. Yeah.
It's matching your shot to the character, like Kevin says. If it's appropriate for the character, then fair enough. Mel just pointed out something that I forgot to mention is like if you're posing, standard rules for making yourself look a bit slimmer is a 3/4 angle stance. So like instead of being what Mel just did, much better than me. And then
again.
Pushing your shoulders back, flattens out your stomach and creates a nice curve on your back and makes you look a lot slimmer as well. It just it kind of makes the body do what it's supposed to be doing, because I slouch quite a lot. It's just little things like that to kind of help make you a bit slimmer. Okay. I was wondering if Kevin was going to pull out an example then.
Well, I did think I might have, but I haven't.
Yeah?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, funny you should mention that, because there was I forgot now. It might have been Kayla Quinn, Lady Noctis, who might have pointed out that there were certain togs that forgot to compensate for their height, and thus they were shooting the model and making them appear sort of smaller than they really were.
Yeah, you have to consider things. I mean, being somebody who's pretty much smaller than everybody makes it a bit easier to not really have to worry too much. Just go ahead and assume that everyone's going to be taller than you.
Well, I've got the opposite
but yeah,
most people are shorter than me, so that's why I lay on the ground and shoot from the ground. I'm 6'3", by the way. So.
Oh wow!
Like, I'm 6 foot taller than me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just get other people to lay on the ground. It's fine.
Okay, that wraps up that topic rather nice
Yep.
at the end. So, Kev, have you got one before I get onto my big main rant?
I was going to ask, what do you do with your cosplay pictures? Do you leave them on your computer? Do you print them out? What do you do?
That's a good.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Oddly enough, though, it's only for the benefit of the viewers because you can't see. I put some of them on the wall. So, yep,
cool.
There's some of them over there. There's some over there, along with my whatever. But sometimes, yes, some of the really good ones I simply put on the wall. And funny enough, the one I recently got from Birmingham, which I'm gonna try and dig up in the chat. I can't say the chat because we're not live, but we'll record it here. It was the one where it's me, was it Danny Sharps, Sophie Wright, and basically I'm riding a dragon there. And I'm gonna put that on the wall because I think that's the perfect personification of why I do cosplay, because it's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But a lot of people they'll leave them on their hard disk, or they'll have them shared from the photographer to their wall, and that's the only light of day they will see. And I think that's a shame. I think it's nice when people print things out, and they look nice printed out. I only thought of this topic because I had a parcel come today, which was this, which is a rather big envelope, which was just a trial book. And it's quite large, as you can see.
Ooh.
I'm going to turn it, open up one of the pages.
And I've got the Mahusive book, sir.
It's just try and find some of the pictures. So, just having some of your photos sort of printed out, it's and then you can actually physically hold them and show them to people, not just on Facebook or something, but in real life. Yeah. Then it's really, it's a nice thing to do.
I mean, that's exactly what I'm doing at the minute as well, is tomorrow going out to print some pictures to build a portfolio just to take and put on my table so people can flip through, because they just look so much better in print.
Kev, how much did that set you back?
Well, this is just a trial book, so this was £15.
Really?
From Italy, but this was just a trial.
Oh,
so so if you want to get a proper one, they're about £40. But as Kim was saying, though, you can just get little portfolio books like this and just have your.
Oh, that's my mate Dominic. I know him. Yep, sorry.
So there's loads of different pictures. A lot of these aren't cosplay, but so you just get printed out, A4 print, cost a couple of quid at the local, camera place. So most of these aren't, like I said, cosplay ones, but so print things. Put a little book together of your shots you've had from your cosplays, so you've got a little portfolio of your cosplay. I think that's what people should do more of, not just hide them on Facebook, but to actually
I see a lot of big
together.
Cosplayers doing it. When they go to cons and stuff, they'll take a book with the best prints and stuff, and obviously they'll be selling prints and stuff like that. But you don't kind of think of it, because I'm not a big cosplayer at all.
Things like this only cost a couple of quid in the local sort of camera shops and things to get printed out. So just get your digital files, go in there to your Jessups if you've still got one, or
if they still exist, yes.
Or DS Color Labs if we have a pair. So it doesn't cost a lot, and it's really nice to have a physical object in your hand still.
Yeah,
I think it's just
that's so beautiful. No, go on. I was just saying the same thing I've said about 5 times now.
No, I think it's just, isn't it just sadly the symptom of us living in a digital age? The fact that we can just pull our phone out and just, again, it's a case of some people, I guess, it's not a thing for me. They have all their images on the cloud rather than even in the hard drive. So it's like,
well, don't get me wrong. All my pictures are stored on the cloud as well. But it's nice I think to have physical objects still. I'm old though, so what do I know?
No, I'm exactly the same. I love seeing my photographs printed out, and sometimes I'll send off prints of people's photos as gifts, and they love them. They frame them.
Yeah. This is from a bygone age. I've got pictures going all the way back to MinamiCon and some very blurry pictures of. You probably can't see it. That was an Iacon. That was in the hotel in Birmingham when they had the arcade cabs from the Namco Wonder Park, which, doesn't exist anymore.
Quite a few years ago.
That's a very, very long time. And that sort of nicely pushes on to my topic, which was that I believe
all getting old.
I believe it's Vanessa Wells, but you can't see it pot belly.
I've got plenty pot belly here.
Oh, don't even. It's a good thing about being a photographer is I can just roll out of bed, put on whatever I want, no makeup, take photos. I don't have to look good. Yeah. It's amazing.
Okay. Well, anyway, to close it up, it's my topic, which, again, I don't know why I call it host topic, since I bring my own one, so this, I guess, is the host topic. It's, the changes since we begun, and I guess I really want to ask Kev, because again, I don't know if you probably witnessed more of it than I did, because I started relatively late, because from what I heard, there were cons, anime, that wasn't even the first anime con. I think the first anime con in the UK goes back to even the 80s or something like that.
Yeah, I wasn't at the early ones either, but I used to go to sci-fi cons, and I went to sci-fi cons in America, and I lived in America as well. And to be honest, the anime cons grew out of the sci-fi and fantasy ones. But yeah, the early anime cons especially were pretty much all male, and there wasn't much cosplay.
Oh yes.
Most people
even when I started going.
Yeah, most people would just be wearing some sort of anime-themed T-shirt, and or the con T-shirt as it was quite often. But it was hard. You were trying to make it to try and entice people to come in cosplay and to come to cosplay competitions. And it's only, as we're saying, things are much more mainstream now, that things have really changed. But you're right. It was mostly male. The cons were quite small.
Very.
And there wasn't much cosplay, and I do think that Expo, love it or hate it, is one of the main reasons for the growth. The big London, Birmingham, Manchester, Glasgow, these big MCM expos around the country, I think has done more to bring it out to everybody than anything.
Oh yeah, because again, you were part of the Iacon. Yeah, you were definitely part of the Iacon share, and oh god, I got a brain fart here. Much editing later. Well, no, I can't stand editing because just like you, it's like Photoshop. It's actually
tedious.
It's very tedious. And damn, I forgot my point. This is kind of embarrassing, but
you're saying about Iacon.
No, it was just about anime cons in general. It was like there was a point at which I just noticed all of a sudden, whoa, there's a lot of women all of a sudden now.
Yeah, if you go back though, go more of a theme about the cosplay side of it. Yeah. The early Minamis I went to, you didn't do hall photographs. There was a masquerade type competition where it was judged on the loudness of the applause usually, and then
I remember that. Yes.
And then afterwards, people would line up in a line, and you had the option of taking pictures of them while they're all lined up against a wall. And that was it. That was pretty much the only photographs you did. Obviously, this is before digital photography.
Yes.
But there wasn't really that much in the way of cosplay photographs. So it is very, very different from what it is now. So different. So much better now.
Yeah, it's like a golden era now. It's fantastic. So many people to photograph.
No, because again, this was a point I brought up, and I don't know if you got some insight in it, because I think there was a point at which Iacon, they didn't want to copy the Americans. The competitions were non-competitive.
Well, yeah, you know that even going back to when they were at Birmingham, there was issues. It was people, when things were competitive, didn't always agree with results, and people were nasty about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, there weren't all there wasn't Facebook and not so much social media to moan about it online, but there was still the same nastiness as unfortunately exists in some places now too.
Yeah, because I remember, this was a particular instance. I don't know if it.
And once again, we didn't want to put people off. We wanted people to cosplay,
Sure.
and we wanted them to come to the masquerade. So saying we're not going to have a competition, you won't be judged, we're not going to compare you against these other people, was a way of trying to entice more people to come along and cosplay and to take part.
Yeah, for sure. Because again, there was one particular incident. Again, I think this was the early 2000s. Because I think you said they were non-competitive back then, but I definitely remember it being, I think, 2004 or something. It was definitely when it was in when the Icon was at that little hotel in I say that little hotel in Northampton. Northampton. There was a certain cosplayer. I think she was doing Ayumi Hamsaki. It was one of her raunchy videos. Essentially, it was kind of like a Poison Ivy sort of thing, and I think she won a competition or something like that. But yet, a lot of people got really, really upset, and she got death threats or something like that.
I can't remember now, but there's been other instances where people have got really, really petty, and it's not nice. So one of the ideas was, well, stop having the competitions, because for competition, this person, which has been picked on, or there's several of them, didn't want to ever cosplay again.
Oh wow!
Which you're thinking, that's why I really support these anti-bullying campaigns.
Yeah.
Because I think the only difference now is there's a lot more people, and it's a lot more out there on the internet. Whereas before,
so I think as well. I think just individually, this is me going to get my soapbox now. As an older
section, yes.
Oh, I know. I was going to say this is me going to get my soapbox now. But as someone who is an older cosplayer, I am very, very protective over other cosplayers. And like I said, I crew a lot of cons. So obviously, and I tend to do the cosplay at a lot of cons. So I tend to be behind the scenes in terms of the cosplay. So because of that, obviously, I'm either wearing a crew shirt, people know that I'm working the con. So I will generally, if I see cosplay bullying going on, I will speak up. And I will not be quiet about it.
Yeah.
And you are not going to get... You are not going to get me sitting in a corner and not speaking up on behalf of someone else.
Well, I think
you're not going to get someone, in an interview going, let's ask these really inappropriate questions to this cosplayer. Oh no, that's not going to happen.
A lot of the time you only find out about these things after the event, which is what's annoying though, because there's nothing you can do about them then.
But see, a lot of the time as well, because I'm in cosplay, people don't always realise that I'm crewing.
Yeah.
So because of that, I can kind of be like, excuse me. And I have called people out on it before. And yes, it's an interesting time. But also it's something that I think that people should do more of. Because if you do see it and you don't agree with it, you should call it out. Absolutely. Even at a Manchester meet recently, there was somebody being really mean to this basically this guy that was basically doing his Bible talking or whatever in Manchester Piccadilly Gardens, and this cosplayer kept going up to him and kept being really mean to him. And I said, excuse me, you are not putting cosplay in a good light. Stop. And I got some abuse for it, and I was like, you need to stop. Because when you're in cosplay, you're representing what a cosplayer is. And you need to stop that.
I don't know. That's sort of. Again,
there is a point.
Again, much like I said before, major disclaimer: just because I have two ladies on, that you don't speak for every woman. I could definitely argue the same thing. Just because a guy's in costume he for sure does not represent every cosplayer. Because let's face it, there are some very, very terrible people out there.
No, but the thing is that I didn't particularly like seeing that. Like I said, I could give you many more examples from actual cons where, there's been very inappropriate questions asked of an interview, for example.
Oh, yes, those are terrible.
That's an interesting section. Not of me particularly, but definitely of, for example, a Black Widow cosplayer that was with me. Yeah.
It's always Black Widow, isn't it?
Yeah, how apt given the recent news, but yeah, go on.
Well, yeah, but to be fair, in the nicest possible way, there was a Black Widow cosplayer at Play Expo this weekend because I also cosplay Black Widow. I was giving her tips on posing, and she went on stage and rocked it, and I was like, yes.
Sweet.
But
I
yeah,
do think it's such a shame that the cosplay community can be negative sometimes, because as well the prevalence of mental health in the cosplay community is quite high, and so things like that could really affect somebody who maybe feels like they've finally found this little, subsection of people that they can really identify with. Lady Fancy Pants and myself are doing this thing called Mind the Step for the Mind charity, that's like a lot related to cosplay, since so many of us have suffered from mental health problems before, and it's trying to like remove that kind of stigma around mental health. And you just see so much like negativity, when really is like such a interesting subset of people that we should really be supporting each other in what we're doing.
Yeah, but to sort of rewind it back to the original point again, because
Yeah.
because I'm really old, although
Not
not as old as Kev, which few, but again, I might have just been immune to it, because again, for one of the what I speak from a position of privilege, because again, I was a bloke, so I never ever witnessed this, so it really disheartened me when I heard by about the early 2000s, even just the case of harassment, that guy was just he was just booted out. But now it's just so common that we need sort of these organizations now to just sort of offset it. But again, coming back from the early days, and I'm just wondering, is it just because more women are involved and all of a sudden we have these, for want of a better word, socially awkward people, and it's like, oh, go. And I'm just,
I'm really socially awkward though.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, also you have like, if someone does genuinely harass somebody else, they're going to get kicked out. Just report it to security and they're going to get kicked out. But it's these weird kind of in between, like how far do you go? And it's such a grey area, and it's so difficult to define.
It's the little snide comments that you can't be kicking somebody out for, but could really damage a person's self-confidence. And I don't really think. I think men and women are just as bad as each other at doing it. I don't think there's really any gender divide there. I do think, like, I've heard men say stuff. I've heard women say stuff. It's that.
We're all nerds in costumes. Who cares?
I know, right?
Again, just me being an old git. It's just, I just think, when did this happen?
I don't
Every
think
time
it's
you
new.
say that, you make Kevin feel a little older.
Well, but I just don't think it's new. I think, though, there's more people, so there's more of it, and there's more ways that people hear about it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people hear more about it, and there's more people. I think that's all it is. It was there before, maybe not so much, but there weren't so many people, and there was less ways that they communicated with each other. But if you're at an event and you have a problem, report it then and there. That's the important thing. Don't hang about. Don't let it. Just go straight. Find a member of staff.
Yeah, well,
like you were saying, Kev, at your event, you were saying you'd have kicked that person out. There's been certain events where I know people have been kicked out because they reported it to us, and it's like, you've just got to report it.
But for something like
that's what the staff is there for.
Yeah, but for something like IACON, that's really that's a lot more straightforward, because it's like, if I saw something I did not agree with, I would just, I'm going to go up to ops, I'm going to tell a man that guy's booted out. Whereas, something like MCM or even just Manchester, you think, where the hell do you begin? There's like tens of thousands of people.
Only when it's in a staff shirt, generally. Most cons will have people in a staff shirt.
Yeah. And,
or ops.
Or ops. But Manchester, there were security staff all over the place.
That too.
Okay, then. All right, and well, we ended up the soapbox, and that's the end of this show. And like I said, before we go, would our guest like to say where you can find him? Kim, where can we find you?
You can mostly find me on Facebook. I'm on there pretty much 24/7. It's Shot in the Dark Photography. If you just search it on Facebook, you should come up with me. I'm always happy to chat photography. If you want to send me a message, if you want to do a shoot and you're a cosplayer, I'm always open to chatting. So yeah.
Okay, sweet. Kevin, where can we find you?
Yep, through the web. If you go to cosplay.co.uk, then you can find links to Facebook and things from there. But once again, if you're in the Northwest and you want to come in for a shoot, drop me a line.
Okay, cool.
Or if you want to see me at an event and shoot there, drop me a line for that as well.
I may definitely hit you up on that because I think I'm going to Manchester MC. I'm going to have my 4 Assassins group, and I've got a perfect picture I want to definitely recreate. Mel, where can we find you then?
I'm seriously cosplay, as in the character from Harry Potter, or obviously on Costume and Play if you're interested in events and things that we work at.
Okay, and as my privilege, normally I should plug myself, but I'm not. This week I'm going to plug. Yep, Iron Man, the cosplayer and gamer, and she is a top tier cosplayer. Again, she made that really excellent Dragonair, and I think she's doing some Lion King stuff with Hannah-chan, who I plugged last weekend. That's a lovely staff, and look at that. Look at the talent. Look at that. Yes. So definitely, you definitely want to check her out. So yeah, Iron Man, the cosplayer and gamer. So, but other than that, hold up with my plate. All that's left to do is thank you very much to my guest and co-host. So thank you very much, Mel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you very much, Kev. Again, it's I've learned quite a lot today.
Thank you. It's been good to talk.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, and like I said, next week we'll try and do another show. Because again, since we've been talking about competitive cosplay, I can't guarantee we'll switch in that angle, but I'm gonna definitely go there. But anyway, catch you guys later.
Bye.